Welcome to the Rapid Africa Plan, where we talk about the things that nobody else is talking about. Number one, we talk about a plan. We have a plan designed and researched over a long period of time, about 8 years to produce it, and another 2 years spreading it on the continent, and it's catching fire. It's beginning to catch fire. The critical moment, the critical mass will take place soon. It's designed to help the youth. It's designed to empower the youth. It's designed to empower the next generation by giving them a manual, a tool of what to do to transform an underdeveloped nation to an advanced one. The standard is the same. The model is the same for any underdeveloped nation, whether it's in South America, whether it's in Asia, whether it's in the Arabic countries, and those countries that transformed already. The backbone model is the same. I did a study and it took me about 8 years to put things together so that I looked at every element, every corner that is required to transform a nation. I did that. But today I want to talk about something. We have this very concerning, very concerning mindset of the African people. We have been driven and the culture to think that solutions are coming from the Western nations, and now solutions are coming from the Chinese. A key element of this, a key pillar of the thought process of the people, especially the technical people that are leading and driving their presence in our countries, is the idea that the finance can only come through the governments of these nations. And people are thinking now that the finance to help Africa is going to come from the Chinese. And yet, when the Chinese started, yes, they had a few $1 trillion from their savings, which they started with. But the majority of the finance that they are using today is a finance that was moved from the West through a very clever, very astute strategy by the Chinese to move finance. The functionality of Western finance, European finance, is now in China, and China is operating the top world banks today. The finance can be organized and tapped from the free market. In other words, governments, apart from the regulations in their countries for external investment, they have no control over the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. There's mountains and mountains of capital that is in these foreign nations that the people in the owners of the capital have nothing else to do. They can't invest in their own countries. In fact, those countries are not structured to absorb that capital. Their regulations and their lack of imagination and lack of understanding that they need to do things different, and therefore the money is there. They're accumulating tons of debt. The Europeans or the Western nations, they're doing that. They're accumulating tons of debt, but they also got a ton of capital. They don't know what to do with it. And that capital is looking for somewhere where it can have higher profits. The underdeveloped nations are the place. It is not the investments that you're looking for. It is not the investors that you're looking for. They'll come and take over everything. They'll buy up everything. They'll buy up the supermarkets. They'll buy up the hardwares. They'll buy up the construction companies. They'll buy up the farms, and you'll have nothing, and your children will suffer. But change this thing, right, by understanding what is called the organic state of an individual. The organic state of an individual means the way God born you to, the way God created you to become. Every individual, under a proper structure, a proper education, a proper understanding, consciousness, and enlightenment, is able to lift themselves up from where they are. It doesn't matter what depth. Why is it the very poorest people come from rags to riches? Because that power is in yourself to do it. As a nation, we have that organic power to come back to ourselves, to just sit together with nothing at all and start to plan from our minds. Then we structure our process, our desires, and the idea of what we want to become. When we put that together, we become a magnet. Then we can attract what we want. We can attract the partnership, whether it's in the West or the Chinese. We don't have China. China is not our friends. The people, they come and despise us on the ground. What's going to happen 10, 20 years from now when they have passports, when they have citizenship? What's going to happen? And then we don't have the enemies, the Western people. They've done what they've done, and we need to sit down on the table and say, look, these things happened. It's a reality. Let's deal with this. We need to sort this out. We don't create. People are now. Let's not get involved in the fight between China and America. Let's be organic. And China and European nations, let's be organic. Let's start afresh from ourselves. What I can tell you, there's a way that we can structure finance, bring finance into Africa. Financial system. Any country that transformed started by creating a financial system first. Because without the means, what do you do? And then they looked at the value system, behavior model. Any nation, any leader that transformed the nation looked at corruption and dealt with it. And come up with a total transformative strategy of doing things completely different. That's why we have to center ourselves and start from there as the youth. That's why you need to start from. The idea that we can be helped by the Chinese, we can be helped by the Westerners. We don't need help. We're not lame. Let's be organic. We can attract ourselves and do what we need to do.